I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match. They don't match.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to
May
go
have
up
been
the
the target.
steps.
Autopsies on the 4 students found each had multiple stab wounds. Some had defensive wounds, showing they fought with the attacker, and there was no sexual assault.
Her father mentioned to me that he had just went and replaced the lock the weekend before.
County Coroner Kathy Mabbutt is describing the murders as personal.
The arrest of 28-year-old Brian Kohberger rocked the nation.
Kohberger studied criminal justice at an advanced level, having gotten a master's from DeSales University in Pennsylvania in 2022. According to the school there, he appears to once have posted on Reddit asking for volunteers for a research project where he was studying the criminal mind.
This video is going to be discussing the 911 call that we all know, according to the probable cause affidavit, was made about 8 hours after the estimated time of death of the victims of the Idaho 4 tragedy. Now, this video came about because I had the person who is known as WSU Kim on my channel the other evening on a live stream because she was in the chat, which caused a conversation to occur between myself and the 2 University of Idaho students who I've been in touch with for the past 6 months, who are in Ethan Chapins Fraternity and were good friends with Ethan Chapin, about their original point of contention with WSU Kim, and now the person known as Dave, who has spoken out on the Drunk Turkey Show and Truth and Transparency, which is that students were aware of the murders long before the 911 call was even made. So before I get into that, I want to address the sources that we are going to be citing. Number 1, Dateline. We are in agreement that the general narrative that was told on the recent Dateline special is not accurate, and we question the sources that these mainstream media outlets are getting their information from. Number 2, WSU Kim. I appreciate that she came on my live stream the other evening, and Kim has been nothing other than nice to me and has spoken kindly about this channel, and the students from the University of Idaho appreciate what she had to say the other night about them, and they also want Kim to know that there really are no hard feelings. It is the issues that are being discussed that they are in contention with. Number 3, Truth and Transparency, and specifically Xana. I've known Xana for a long time, and I really like Xana, and it is absolutely nothing personal with Xana, and I think she's doing awesome work on this case and is doing her best to tell the truth. Nevertheless, the 2 students at the University of Idaho are in contention with some things that she has been saying on her channel, and we are going to talk about them. Hope it's all cool, Xana. I know you're mature and can handle it. Number 4, the Drunk Turkey Show. Although I don't have a relationship really with the Drunk Turkey Show the way I do with Xana, I guess I would say the same thing. We appreciate their channel, as do the 2 guys from the University of Idaho, and it's nothing personal. We just want to get this issue straightened out, and these guys and some of the victims' families feel very strongly about it. So I hope everyone can take this for exactly what it's worth. So let's get into the issue at hand, and that is the claims of at least a couple of people that students knew about the tragedy hours before the 911 call was even made. I am going to be using some excerpts from Truth and Transparency and the Drunk Turkey Show. I'm going to leave links to those channels in the description, and I totally suggest that you check out their videos on your own and make your decisions about what you think about this issue and other issues for yourself. The following is a clip from 2020 that Xana from Truth and Transparency played on a live stream just the other night.
Okay, it's an accident. Let's not panic, you know. And I remember texting Kaylee. Seeing if she was okay. She obviously didn't ever respond. It was in the morning.
So obviously this young woman just said that she tried to text Kaylee and Kaylee did not respond because it was in the morning. Now, to be fair, Lana on Truth and Transparency did point out the fact that, oh, well, maybe the girl had just woke up late, and so when she texted her, even if it wasn't really in the morning, it felt like the morning. Y'all remember what it was like to be a college student if you went to college, right? The 2 University of Idaho students that the channel is in contact with claim that they know this young woman, and although they have not asked her about it in the past couple days since this clip aired on Truth and Transparency and was discussed in regards to when students knew about the tragedy, they feel certain that she is well aware of the timing of when students became aware of this tragedy, and she doesn't have any suspicion that it was earlier in the morning, well before the 911 call was made. They're actually planning on reaching out to her to see if she would like to make a statement or if she would like to come on the channel in voice only, since she has already been on 2020 to clarify what she meant here. We're hoping that that's going to happen. I just want to clarify and reiterate that the claims that these 2 guys make, guys, I absolutely believe them. I've been in contact with them for 6 months, one of them since 10 days after this tragedy occurred. And every single thing, everything, 100% of it, everything that they have told me has turned out to be true when I check up on it. There is no deception. There's no ulterior motive. These guys are shooting straight from the hip, and I can assure you of that. Okay, so this next clip, again, was from Truth and Transparency. She played this clip that was originally from the Drunk Turkey Show, and hey, guys, and thank yous. And you'll be hearing the woman who is known as WSU Kim talking about her claims that she had heard from her daughter that students from all over the place, it seems, knew about the murders really early on. Now, this is a pretty long clip because this clip is rich. And my 2 guys from the University of Idaho had something to say about several different points in this one clip. So please listen carefully.
He goes to UI, and so she's friends with the Pi Fies because he goes there. And I said, but how do the Pi Fies know? How do you know at 10 o'clock and we don't know until now? She goes, I don't know that. And I said, but why do you know now? Why did you know at 10? And it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and we don't know. And you know everything that happened, but the news doesn't say that. Because at the same time, I'm going through my phone looking for any information I can find. And there's just no information. And so then I said, what happened? And she told me that, and what she said to me was that there were 4 kids were killed, they were stabbed, and that there were 2 roommates there who locked themselves in their bedrooms because they were scared, but they heard a lot of noise. But it's a party house, so maybe they didn't know what was happening. And I said, hold on a minute. I said, did they call 911? She goes, I don't know. But that is what I was told. That is what and I did correct it with the FBI as soon as I learned that this is not working. It's not right. So, well, a lot of kids were there early in the morning. Mm-hmm. They were there early in the morning. 8 o'clock. That's what she said. It seems like I think the sorority sister might have stayed at my daughter's house or not, but knew at 8:30, and there was a narrative discovered and built, and 2 people who are really important to the case I don't think they did it. I think they thought it was a shakedown. I do not think any student did it.
Right.
But I think that they all
nobody told you that, right? That's something that when it comes to the shakedown stuff.
Well, I know
that's not something that your daughter told you that she thought it was a shakedown.
No, that I was told. No, yeah. I was told that.
You were told what? When were you told that?
It was a drug house that they were there, the creeper was there, and there were people there.
Okay. Hold on. Who told you this? And when was this told?
My child told me this. This was in the beginning.
And she was told by the student from University of Idaho?
The student's girlfriend from University of Idaho.
Okay. Where did she get that information from?
My daughter told me is that she got it from the Wi-Fi.
Oh, she got it from the sorority.
Yeah, she got it from the sorority. That's what she told me at the time.
Okay, so first of all, and listen, Kim, I think you are a sweetheart. And again, it's nothing personal, but these are some observations that we have made, and then we'll go into some hard facts. So first of all, the story is a little bit convoluted. And if you watch the several different appearances that WSU Kim has made, and nothing personal, I kind of feel bad about doing this, but I am committed to the truth and to the people that I've been in touch with who were deeply impacted by this tragedy. If you go through the several different appearances that she's made on channels, this story does change ever so slightly. Now, I could make a video pointing out all of those discrepancies, but I feel like that is a little bit unkind, and I'm not trying to be unkind here, but I think you yourself can tell, and I think the Drunk Turkey Show was getting the idea that this story is a little bit convoluted. It sounds as though some of the details at this point might be being manufactured as we are going along. You know what I'm saying? Now, something that my two students from the University of Idaho feel really strongly about is that although this house may have been known as, quote, the drug house at various times over the years, and it may be true that certain people who lived in the house acted like typical college students and engaged in recreational use of whatever at times, they stand by the fact, as they have all along, that as of this past school year, this house was totally not known as the drug house. Not by them, not by anyone they have talked to, not by anyone. In their opinion, and in the opinions of several people that they have talked to, and we have been discussing this at various times over the past several months, this term drug house that's being used to refer to 1122 King Road is something that people have picked up on social media, on YouTube, maybe on TikTok, and that's where it came from. So, you know, through the course of our discussion, we sort of felt like if somebody is referring to it as the drug house, that is because they have heard it through YouTube, through TikTok, through wherever on social media, and it's not because they've actually received the information from a source close to the actual tragedy. And you know what? I stand by that too. Another point about this story that we decided we would like to bring to everyone's attention is the amount of detail that is included in that story. According to WSU Kim, she heard this very early on. In fact, the Drunk Turkey Show asks her to reiterate when and where she heard it from, and she does. Well, we all know how the game of telephone goes, and when you're first learning about a situation, especially a shocking situation where nobody knows all the details of that situation, all of the details get a little clouded up and confused. But in this story, there is an incredible amount of detail that, according to the official documents, actually turns out to probably be true. Like the two surviving roommates locking themselves in their rooms. You know, that one of them thought there was a party going on, that the other one thought something else. There is just way too much detail in this story to sit comfortably in our opinions. The Sig Kai boys have some additional issues with this story, but first, let's listen to a clip of the guy that's being called Dave talking to Lana from Truth and Transparency.
You wake up in the morning on November 13th. Can you just describe your day?
So I don't remember like exactly when I woke up. I just remember like waking up and opening up my Snapchat, and there were dozens of Snapchat messages in all the group chats. And I just remember like, oh, this is kind of whack. And then like I got up and I was like getting ready for work. And then like when I kind of like woken up a little bit more, I started to go through them because I did not want to have to read a lot of shit early in the morning. And then I ended up like I was just sitting there scrolling through it, and then they opened up the messages, and then there it was. It was like, holy shit, did you guys hear about what happened? Like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm scrolling up, and there's just, I mean, lines and lines and lines of text. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's awake. I mean, and this is before 9:30 on a Sunday. And I remember that because I had to go to work, and I ended up not going because I wanted to be with my brothers, right? Kind of obvious. But yeah, and it's like, I don't remember what exact time I woke up, but I remember, like, yeah, we were all talking about it. We all knew about it. And like my boss, my coworkers were texting me later, you know, asking me like if everything was okay, and they had even heard about things. They heard like it was a shooting and stuff like that. So, and yeah, it was kind of weird because like at the beginning, everyone said like at the beginning, like the very first messages where people were talking about the stabbings, or like a stabbing had occurred. And then it changed to an OD, and it was just kind of weird. Like looking back on it, it changed to an OD so quickly, and like nobody questioned it, and like we didn't question it either because we knew there were drugs in that house, and like just genuinely thought like, okay, they got a bad batch, and that's just what happened, right? Because you see it on the news. It happens in bigger cities.
So you said you had to go to work, and you said you had to be to work at 9:30. So this would have happened before, like you got to work.
No, this was definitely and it was like a I don't know 5-10 minute drive to work, and like I had to like get ready too. So you're talking like well before 9 o'clock in the morning at least.
Okay, so this story from the guy that's known as WSU Dave has some of the same issues that the guys have with a story that Kim tells. And this is when we're also going to get into some hard facts, and the guys are going to reveal some additional detail of their experience of that morning, which they have been very hesitant to discuss, or to allow me to discuss, I should say, up until now. But it is so important to them that we get the story straight as much as possible, or at least until the trial happens, because we all know it's going to be a long time, that these vicious rumors don't continue to circulate that are hurting the family members and close friends of the victims. Guys, it's not acceptable. So here's one of the problems with the early morning hours for a Sunday that Dave, and in a less clear way, Kim is referencing. So he is saying at the very end of the clip that I just played, Lana is clarifying, she does a really good job interviewing people, of exactly when it was that he may have been looking at these snaps. And he clarifies that it is well before 9 a.m., like around 8:30. Well, according to the two guys from the University of Idaho that I'm in contact with, nobody is up on a Sunday morning around 8:30. And if people are up at 8:30 on a Sunday morning, it's very few and far between. So Dave says that when he first looked at his phone, there were dozens and dozens of snaps. They simply just do not believe that there were enough people up at that early hour on a Sunday morning that would have rendered dozens and dozens of snaps talking about something that they hold firm to nobody knew about until between 12:30 and 1, for the most part. I'm talking about on a larger scale on that day. Now, here's a detail about their personal experience of that morning. Now, they say that they were up between 10 and 10:30. They say they do not know the exact time they were up because they had no reason to at that point until a little bit later in the day. That day was no different than any other. It was not a remarkable day, so they had no reason to remember, oh, yeah, I woke up on that day and I looked at the clock and it was 10:17 a.m. But they are sure, because of what they had to do that day, they were up between 10 and 10:30. They feel like that is an estimate that they can make that is going to be totally truthful, which is all that they ever are. So they were up between 10 and 10:30. According to what WSU Kim and this guy Dave are saying, tons of people, at least dozens and dozens, knew by 8:30 a.m. They feel that it would be absolutely impossible if all of those people knew that that happened to their fraternity brother, who was a close friend of theirs, that they would not have found out shortly after having woken up. Why did nobody contact them directly or anybody else in Sigma Chi. If it was a Sigma Chi fraternity brother who's one of the victims of this tragedy, why did nobody in that fraternity know until, well, definitely after noon? They also say, because they are good friends with Hunter Chapin, and they've talked to him on several occasions about, well, anything in the world, but also about what has happened, that Hunter was up even earlier than them due to some academic study obligations that he had that day. They also feel, and particularly feel, it would be absolutely impossible, and I fully agree, that if dozens and dozens of students knew around 8:30 a.m. that the people in that house had perished, that Hunter Chapin, Ethan's triplet sibling, would not have known about the tragedy until he was called on the scene, which he was. Okay, next, I just want to, change something I said the other night on my live stream. So when I was talking to the two guys from University of Idaho, they felt that they knew who the person who's being referred to as Dave was, yet they still didn't agree with some aspects of his story, as I just discussed. Well, apparently, as they told me, and I believe them, they reached out to this person, one of them did, and the person swears it wasn't him and had no idea what he was talking about. So they've changed their stance on that. They just don't know who it is. They're not saying that he's not legitimate or he's not from the university or he's not in a fraternity or anything like that, but they just have no idea who he is. So take that for what it's worth. So if you happen to be watching this video on May 29th, Memorial Day, and happy Memorial Day to y'all, there's going to be a live stream tonight at 9 p.m. It's probably going to be a shorter live stream, I'm hoping, because I have to go to work in the morning. But I am going to have these guys available on text. So if you have questions for them about anything that has been said or anything at all, as long as it is appropriate, I can field the questions to them via text, and you will probably get some kind of answer. So if you're interested in asking a question, be there tonight at 9 p.m. I'm not sure how I'm going to decide how I take the questions, but I guess it depends on how many there are. And hopefully, if you do have questions, you will get some answers. So as always, the most important thing here is to remember the victims, especially on Memorial Day. We remember the victims of this terrible tragedy: Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. Rest in peace, sweethearts, and I hope that their families are eventually able to find peace as well.